You're listening to Systemic Error Podcast. The failure was designed.
Trump ally Mike Lindell torn apart by MAGA judge, based on an article by Matthew Rosa. When Trump's court finally says no to his fraud merchants, the headline story, Mike Lindell, one of Donald Trump's loudest allies, has been ordered by a Trump-appointed federal judge to pay a contempt penalty after years of refusing to pay sanctions tied to his false attacks on Smartmatic. The amount is not symbolic, $51,500 in daily contempt penalties, with a deadline of Aug. 21. That is the basic fact pattern. Everything else is the familiar noise of a movement that mistakes defiance for innocence. The power is not with Lindell. The actual institutional power here sits with the court, not with the MyPillow pitchman pretending to be persecuted. Judge Carl Nichols, appointed by Trump, did what institutions are supposed to do when a wealthy agitator refuses to comply. He clarified where the money goes and enforced the penalty. The point of a civil contempt sanction is coercion, not compensation. That matters, because Lindell's whole performance depends on pretending rules are arbitrary when they finally catch up to him. The Grievance Act is doing political work. Lindell keeps selling himself as an outsider who has been excluded by the establishment. That is not analysis, it is branding. He is not outside Trump world. He is one of its favored products. He was endorsed by Trump. He went on Steve Bannon's show to complain about being shut out. And he still tries to dress up loyalty as insurgency. This is how reactionary politics launders proximity to power. Take advantage of the machine, then pose as its victim when the machine demands accountability. Campaign money as personal branding. The contempt order lands on top of a simpler and uglier fact. Lindell said he could not pay sanctions, then spent $187,037.87 in campaign funds to buy copies of his own book and hand them out. That is not hardship, that is self-dealing with a campaign bank account. He is also reportedly registered to vote in Texas while running for governor in Minnesota, which is a perfect summary of his politics: maximal spectacle, minimal coherence, and no serious relationship to the obligations he claims to seek. The lie was never accidental. Smartmatic was falsely accused of election fraud as part of the broader Trump campaign to deny the 2020 result. Trump still insists he won, despite losing more than 99% of the court cases built around that claim. That is the deeper pattern. Deliberate disinformation gets treated as a personality quirk until a judge imposes a price. The story is not that Lindell is misunderstood. It is that Trump world has built an entire political economy around lying, then acts shocked when courts do not play along. The larger pattern. This is what authoritarian politics looks like when it collides with ordinary legal process. The lie is personalized, the blame is externalized, and the grift is recast as martyrdom. Lindell is not an aberration. He is a model Republican operator in the Trump era. Tie yourself to a strongman, monetize grievance, use campaign structures as private support systems, then complain that institutions are mean when they enforce basic limits. The Democratic response is not to rehabilitate this behavior. It is to name it for what it is: a political culture built on fraud, impunity, and the demand that everyone else pretend the con is sincere. You've been listening to Systemic Error. Thanks to Alternet for today's article, with the automated voice of Amy. Thanks for listening.